No,
yeah.
because you're a cold-hearted sociopath and you don't give a fuck about anybody. Like, there's not enough empathy in the world.
Fuck that guy. Glad he's fucking dead.
There is a mental health issue. The act of
Mhm.
listening in the purest form is one of the hardest things to do. And
I'm
it's
sorry,
actually
what were you
not
talking
doing...
about? I didn't hear
Yeah.
that.
Agree to disagree's a fancy way of saying fuck you.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of Agree and Disagree with Nick Beaton. Before I get into the show, please, if you're listening to this right now, just go ahead and hit the follow button and give a rating and a review to the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, drop a comment. All that engagement and things helps me get more listeners and viewers, which is the whole reason why I'm doing this. My guest today is Shaun Majumder. He's one of Canada's best stand-up comics. He's performed at the Just for Laughs Festival lots and lots of times. He's also on From. He was on This Hour's 22 Minutes. He did 2 episodes of 24. He's been all over the place. He's one of the most successful, best comics to come out of this country, originally from Newfoundland. So East Coast, but a different East Coast than I am. But I'm Cape Breton. We're very similar in that regard. So we have lots of commonalities. And yeah, we had a great conversation, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So please welcome with me Shaun Majumder, everybody. All right, now I am here with Shaun Majumder. Thanks for joining me today, Shaun. I really appreciate
What's up,
it.
Nick? What's
Not much.
up?
I wanted to say I love your hat, man. That's a great Blue
Thanks,
Jays
buddy.
hat.
It's
Yeah,
a good one. And I had one, like the last time I had a hat, like a Blue Jays hat, was when I was a kid. Like I haven't been like I've been more a Toronto Maple Leafs hat, but you know how that's going. So
Yeah.
I am putting that away. But that is my other hat is a banger of a hat that I've had. It's gone to war and back, Jimmy, and it was tore up and it was lost, and now it's found. It's a Disney movie, my other hat, and I've kept it. But I was like, dude, every time I go through the airport in Toronto, I go by that store in the domestic terminal where I have all the Toronto and all that stuff. And I was like, I need a hat. Like, I'm just feeling the love. I've always been a Toronto Blue Jay fan, but I've never really, upped the garb. So I said, I'm going to spend too much money on a hat. And it's a nice one. I love it.
I've got like 3 Blue Jays hats. I'm not like, look, I support the Blue Jays because I live in Toronto and I'm Canadian. Like, it's just something you do. But I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I figure the rules of owning team hats are it's either a team that you support or a team in the city you live in. Those are the lines that I'm like,
That's good.
and if you live in the city, even if you don't really like the team, the Blue Jays hats, there's so many awesome ones here. Like because they're just like, you're in Toronto, people will buy these hats. Like I have got like this cool green one, and then a cool more bright blue one. But I love that. It's like a navy with that's fucking. I love that.
It's got good vibes. And I was looking at the other ones. My OG one was the white front, blue back. And it was the classic one. Like I have a picture of me when I went to a game at Exhibition Stadium years ago when there was all-star hockey players were playing a little mini game. It was like a charity mini game before the actual Blue Jay game. And I got a picture of like me and like Stevie Yzerman was in the background.
Oh, yeah.
And, there was all the old hockey players and it was playing baseball. It was fun. So
That's awesome.
I'm a huge fan, but I've kind of waned from it since I've become an adult.
Yeah, not as much time.
Yeah.
You can, all right. Well, let's dive into the topics here. The first topic that we chose, the one we agree on, is the idea that diversity, inclusion in hiring has become more of a PR move than genuine inclusion. We both agree on that. I guess we could just start with, honestly, do you think that corporations ever meant for these types of initiatives like DEI or whatever it's called to actually be about genuine inclusion? Or was it always just, hey, look at what we're doing. We're doing the right thing.
It depends on where. I feel like it depends on where you live and what city it is, which corporation it is, because it is funny, especially in the LGBTQI plus. Can we talk about the acronym?
Sure.
Listen, I am a full blown ally, 100%. But I sent a note to a trans friend of mine the other day because they sent me one. They said, I have been working with, and it keeps getting longer and longer and longer, which is a good thing in the sense that it's being more inclusive of all, but it also reads like a password on your Bell modem that you have to memorize, and you keep shagging it up, and you cannot, you just want to change it to Jazzy 187 or Moose Fart or whatever it is. It's easy to remember. But I just wonder, like, does the acronym, like, in the community, is there nobody in the community that's going, guys, we gotta,
I
let's,
Yeah, I think there's actually a lot of people in the community going like, "Well, we need to chill the fuck out here." There's
yeah,
because
and
there's
rebrand, just rebrand, like put it in one lump. Like, it is all inclusive, but when you get it down to it, it is too much of and I'm terrible with like individual characters. AI plus G67894289. It's like, who?
yeah, it starts with the two S
That's
LGBTQIA
right.
plus. I feel like every time, and some of the letters don't get included because there's more letters out there that aren't in there
I
or
know.
more like identities,
Yeah.
but they're always just a different kind of bisexual. Like I know I'm probably
Right.
being
It's a
glib when I say it,
different
but
shade of
yeah,
bisexual.
yeah, it's like it's usually a new thing for like I fuck everyone. That's what it
Yeah.
seems to be. They add a different version of that. Um, so I think they could
Right.
definitely just use an economy here and get to the
Just
real nuts and
amalgamate.
bolts of it. Yeah.
Amalgamate. I know, but is it like, is that also suggesting then that, for example, if you're a hockey fan generally, you're definitely, I lean hockey, but I certainly do not lean Montreal, right? I
Right.
am clearly a Toronto fan within the hockey community, but it's definitely blue and white. Like, I don't ever want to wear red and white, red, blue, whatever the Montreal Canadiens fans, that kind of thing. But I wonder, if they do amalgamate, does it then defeat the purpose of standing strong? And again, this all goes back to diversity and inclusion within the corporation world, because if I'm a corporate and I'm trying to brand what it is we stand for, like for example, the trans flag, to me, with the circle, is as inclusive as it gets, and it's crystal clear when I see it, and it's an image, and I love it. I think that, to me, it boom, there it is. It includes everybody, and I know there's different variations of that flag, but I fully support that. Like, it's very simple and clean and easy, and communication is everything, and clarity is everything.
Mm-hmm.
But how many of these corporations all of a sudden are like, hey, it's Pride Month, and so we're only going, like, do they walk the walk instead of talking the talk? That
The
is the
corporations.
question, right? The
No,
corporations.
I don't think they do at all for just about any of this stuff. Especially that is a really good issue because it's like the month of June. For Pride Month, it's like everything they roll out they start putting up the rainbow stuff all around and whatever, and then there's the ads, and
Yeah.
you're just like, this is a point I was going to get to, is just the idea that it's like, I think a lot of these corporations, they're awful places, and I think they can use something like Pride Month specifically because of how splashy and flashy it is to go like, hey, look
And
over here at what we're
trendy.
doing, and don't look over here at what we're doing. Like we're doing
That's it.
awful
See, I don't
shit.
know enough. See, I don't know enough about the awful shit that people, like, that corporations could do. I know corporations are capable of bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking news.
Well,
But
banks seem to do it a lot, right? You see a lot of banks
yeah,
put out like the Pride stuff, and even though not necessarily banks being inherently bad, people keep their money there, blah blah blah. But they also, people
yeah,
keep their money there, but then bankers at the top have committed like awful crimes, but
yeah,
they don't ever get punished, and they get their
they don't get
bonuses,
punished.
and they fuck around with the economy. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you're a banker in 2008 and you're like, oh, let's put out our Pride thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
please don't look at this other part.
We're proud to cheat. I don't get it. No, I do. My favorite, though, are when companies, like, And not to knock, I mean, they're putting their best foot forward, or they're trying to adapt to the times. My favorite is like, Shell oil is the cleanest oil for the world. Like, it's,
Hmm.
there's frogs on leaves with dripping water, and we are inclusive of nature in
Yeah.
our corporate MO. And it's like, it's a twist. You're twisting me. And I'm not, listen, I don't know enough to really spout off on everything, but I will say I find that messaging really interesting. So diversity is an interesting word. Like,
Yeah.
it's gotten ambushed by certain groups it falls under the same like woke category, and like that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Being woke, depending on how you define woke, like what is woke?
Well,
Woke,
woke evolved, right? Like when it started, being woke was the idea of being like awake to
yeah,
social injustice.
yeah,
But then came like what people started branding the woke scolds, which were the people who were like, I get it, you don't, I'm going to make you feel bad, which is a
uh-huh.
terrible way. It came with that whole idea of people saying things like, it's not my job to educate you and do the work. It was a lot of like buzzword phrases that were meant to shut down honest discussion instead of just being like, look, I'm this person, this is what I believe, this is what I think. We all have to hash this out in the market of
Yeah,
free ideas. Instead, it's
right.
just like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, you're just shut up. It's not my job to
Yep,
educate
stop.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Uh, the diversity is it's a word. That's another word that gets now tainted. I think I have a theory on this as to why things get tainted, and words that are valuable and have valuable meanings and stuff behind them. And I think it has a lot to do with how connected we are and how online everybody is and how many people post shit. So
Yeah,
before, it just couldn't spread that way. Things
right.
spread naturally and it was a slow process. Now people can say woke all the time. So every conservative, talking head is saying woke and we need to, and diversity and, whatever. So it just becomes, you get tired of hearing them. Things become cliche in a second now instead of
Oh, it's so
having a natural life.
fast.
Yeah.
Right, right. And then there's also, there's no more curiosity or inquisitiveness about a topic because you're being force fed from whichever silo you're in, the that perspective of that word, right? Like,
Hmm.
so very rarely you don't need to ask the question like, where did woke come from? You don't need to ask that question because you already know if you're in this algorithm, it means a bunch of floozy boozies trying to force their way on our children and turn our children into pizza eating and pedophile. Can a kid be a pedophile? I don't think a kid can be, but there is. Yes, they can.
Well,
They're
you can
kid
plant the seed.
pedophiles. Yeah, because that's what's happening on my algorithm. Kids are
Hmm.
becoming pedophiles. That's what the woke wants you to do. They want you to turn your kid into a adult. What's the reverse? What when a kid molests an adult? What is that
I
called? What is that? Because it's
I've
starting to
never heard of
trend.
this even as a
It
concept.
is. It's happening. Kids are starting to molest adults.
We just
It's
broke huge
about
news on the
time. I fully
podcast.
support it. I'm just saying, like,
What
but
what
but that's shit
revenge?
that would happen, and people will buy into it. People will be like, "Yes, we got to stop these kids from molesting grandpas."
Yeah.
The holiday season is coming up.
It has a lot to do with what your bubble is, what you've it's weird. I find it weird that people, I find it extremely interesting when I disagree with somebody on something, especially if like we disagree and I can tell the person is like having a disagreement in good faith and it's
Yeah.
not intellectually lazy, like they're like, I've read some stuff on this. This is what I think. Because
Yeah.
I mean, most of the people I talk with aren't experts on an issue. It's a lot of
Right.
just, I read some articles, I heard some anecdotes, and now this is kind of what I believe. I find it baffling to me when people hear people say other shit or have a disagreement, and they automatically are mad at that person. Like,
Yeah.
other than maybe a couple key issues, maybe there's certain things you hold very close to your heart. But like, I put out a video yesterday making fun of these Nick Fuentes defenders on Pierce Morgan, and I'm starting to get comments from all these people who love Nick Fuentes, and it's just like they can't understand that someone doesn't like this guy, and I which is baffling to me because
Yeah.
of what a massive piece of shit he is. But
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
people who just can't, they don't get it. You're like, how
So
can you
what was
not
the
like him?
and then so when I mean, yeah, you start seeing that with all of these on YouTube, you have those open talks where it's like one dude, a right-wing guy against 20 left-wing guys,
Yes,
whatever
I've seen
that
that.
thing
Yeah.
is. Those are fun to watch. They really are. But
Yeah.
then like I remember when what was his name? He's from Zateo News. He's great. Sorry, we got to get his name. I need to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Say
don't
it.
know this guy. Who is it?
Oh, he's fucking great.
What's Zateo
I'm
News,
sorry, I'm
though?
blanking on his name. Sorry, it's so ridiculous.
No, I've never even heard of, what's it called?
You'd love it. Teo.
Zateo News.
Yeah, you'll see. I mean, he's great. He's great. He's great. Started by Stand by, brothers. Stand by. Teo. Prem Thacker. I'll tell you that.
You could have told me Prem Thacker and I would have believed you.
Mehdi Hassan. Oh my God, what an idiot I am.
Oh, Mehdi Hassan. Yeah, yeah. I don't care for Mehdi Hassan. I don't.
Yeah. But I gotta start over. So yeah. So are you able to edit this?
I will edit that.
Are
yeah.
you editing? Okay, yeah. Oh, like for example, I love watching those episodes on YouTube where it's like one left wing guy against a bunch of anti left wing guys or girls, and you see that thing. And I remember when Mehdi Hassan was on from Zateo News, and he was taking on I think it was just like extreme right wingers, and the things that were coming out of the mouths of the individuals who were there was so revealing. Like at one point, you thought the debate was going to be like those things you anticipate some kind of debate. And a lot of times there are. I haven't watched a ton of them. The ones I have watched, though, they vary from there's intellectuals who sit down and say, I would like to challenge you on this thought because I have this evidence to show that, and then the response is, well, that's a fair point. But the majority of the time is like, yeah,
it's people trying to.
What's wrong with killing Jews?
Yeah, do gotcha.
You tell me.
Type of stuff.
Yeah, philosophically, I mean, people have killed other people, and now you're like, but now what's happening? And then it all goes downhill from there. But he was confronted with stuff about fascism, and it just seems like there is a shifting young generation that has thrown all the things that a semi-older, not even that much older generation has held to be true and held to be important in terms of values and morals and ethics. I mean, all that shit's out the window now. So when you have someone like Nick Fuentes, who is a self-proclaimed Nazi, who is very charming and very sparkly and cute, but his views, you let him run the world, give him the keys to the bus, he's going to run over some very specific people.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's trash. Every video I've done. Now you can look at like the highlight reels, and that's going to show you the worst. I don't know all of what he says. I've probably seen only a drop in the bucket for what this guy says, but I hate the people who defend it as being like, oh, he's just joking and he's not serious. And I'm like, well, if he's not serious, he should stop fucking saying the stuff. Like,
he's absolutely serious.
I think he's dead serious.
He's not just trolling everybody. Like, that's the same thing. You take that with Trump. You take that with any of them, right? It's anybody, left or right. If it's a joke, we joke. We go on stage and we say some shit that can be very controversial, very poking. But if you get down to our core values, it doesn't mean we believe the things that we said. We're using the words and in an audience situation to hopefully make a point. I'm not preaching. I'm trying to shine a light in a different way through the words that I choose to say, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I believe all that shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's certain things like if you're actually like writing a bit and your bit's like, it depends. I mean, if it's a very grounded in reality bit, that's one thing. If it's a bit where you're fucking around, little magic
Yeah.
realism in there or whatever. But
Yeah.
the part of it is there's usually like definable setup, punchline, or parts that are definitely meant to be that shocking turn of phrase or whatever. Literally, Nick Fuentes just sits down, turns on a camera, and talks about how men are better than women and women are stupid and shouldn't be able to
Women are
vote.
trash.
And
Yeah.
just says it. It's like, that's not a joke. That's like, and if he's not being serious, then you should stop. You should never be that disingenuous to galvanize that many people, because he's clearly making people angry. This one guy who messaged me, he was he's like, I'm an East Asian guy from East Asia and we love fucking Nick Fuentes. And I'm like, I don't think he'd like you, man. Like, I don't know if you've heard, are you listening carefully enough? And he dropped the N-bomb. He called me the N-word in my thing. And I'm like, that's another thing.
You're not from Newfoundland. You're from Cape Breton.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, when this motherfucker said that, I was just like, the balls, because fucking
The
Fuentes,
East Asia guy
yeah,
called you the N-word?
yeah, man. And Fuentes
Southeast
himself,
Asian?
I don't know exactly. He just said East Asian in the comment. When he dropping that word is, I've heard Fuentes does it too. I'm like, you fucking dickless prick. You're saying it in a fucking studio in front of a camera and nothing will ever. I go to fucking south side of Chicago and start throwing that fucking word around and
Just
see
go.
what happens to you. Yeah. I mean, just,
you don't have to speak.
just show up in your little suit.
Just show up. Yeah. In your little German-made car and see where it gets you. I mean, it is an interesting thing. We live in a time where it's those voices that are so strong that are strong in the way that they have so many followers. They speak exactly the words that hit a certain demographic so hard, and it starts to distort reality, and it taps into the fear of our, human animal, and then people start believing it, and that's where the what's the word, the corrosion of the concept of compassionate hiring when it comes to seeing a world where, okay, for years it was very biased in how people were hired, so we may need to implement a program to just make sure that everybody is on equal footing and it's not weighted in one way or another. It doesn't mean that like we hate white people. I mean, when I did my sketch on 22 Minutes years ago called Beige Power, again, I was joking. It was reacting to the things that I saw on when Trump was first running for office, and everybody was calling him a Nazi, and they were saying he's a white supremacist. I was like, no, he's not. And then I started like looking into white supremacy, and I started seeing what the reality of white supremacists thought. And I'm like, guys, everybody relax. Everybody's gonna be beige in 1,000 years. Joking. I wrote a sketch about it. We had a song. It went out there. Then the Nazis freaked out because they took it literally, and they're calling for me to be killed because I was promoting white genocide. And I was like, oh shit, no, dude, no, nobody like we live in a very weird, strange time.
Well, I think part of what ends up happening is the goal is good. Like if I were to put it sort of in a basic nutshell, it's like hiring and diversifying the hiring pool is good, because that's the problem, is sometimes if you don't actually nudge people in that direction to do it, they won't do it on their own. That's why affirmative action started in the 60s under Kennedy, right? Because like, sure, okay, we have civil rights, but it doesn't mean that every person is going to hire black people at this point now, because they're still racist. So you had to kind of force it. Totally makes sense. And when people say things like, oh, they should just hire the best person for the job, of course they should, but that's not what necessarily is happening. with diversity hiring, they're not hiring not the worst or worst person. They're just opening up their job pool to look at different candidates that they have not been, had
Yeah,
a prerequisite to look at. That's
that's
good.
right. That's
One
good.
thing, though, that sucks, and the reason why the fighting, I think, starts is because there are bad advocates, and that's true of any movement. There are just
Yeah,
advocates who make it look worse, and they're always the loudest ones and get the most attention. So you have these
totally.
people screaming shit where people are like, see, they hate white people because those people are saying things like that. And,
They said
and
they
then,
do? They do, really? Yeah, now I see it.
yeah.
I didn't see it before. I just thought it was being compassionate and kind. No, the wool is being pulled over my eyes. It's weird, dude. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's decaying the idea of being compassionate. It was interesting. Somebody was saying online, they were saying, how Trump, when he first came into power, and any right wing kind of, whether it's in the media, on social media, or in the news, or a politician, when you start tapping into fear is the one thing that will hijack the human brain, like the amygdala, the hormones that are released, the survival mechanisms that kick in. It becomes all about self-preservation, and you cannot even begin to think about being kind to other people, because it's all about you. You're going to die if you are kind, because they could stab you in the neck with their religious knife, and
Mhm.
you get away. You know what I mean? So how do you counter that, Nick? How do you counter that when you're talking about, diversity and inclusion and all that kind of stuff? Like
I
even
mean,
in filmmaking and telling stories.
yeah, I think a couple of things. I think first of all, uh, some aspects of this, which we've covered, the idea of it being just something that makes the company look good. They just get to go look at this. It's a tokenizing,
Yeah.
especially in the film industry, I find, or in show business. Like you get a
Yeah.
lot of people wearing it on their sleeves. Like I'll get breakdowns for stuff, and it basically says we are prioritizing these groups of people because they can't
That's right.
outright say we're not going to hire this type of person. They can
Yeah.
say though we're prioritized. I wish they just knocked that shit off. If they just didn't include that in the breakdown, and then they
Yeah.
hired whoever they wanted to hire, like, and hired
Yeah.
even people that were whatever it is, diverse, whatever.
Yes.
Then
Yeah.
I would be like, okay, you're
BIPOC.
not. Just don't shove it down our throats. Like I've stopped like doing a lot of stuff because I'm like, all right, I get it. You're not. Why did I get this? Like you're not
Yeah.
even asking for
Why'd
me.
you
Like,
send this to me? Yeah.
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 So I think.
I had to work against all of that. And now I'm on the other side. I have always been like, I remember when I first started auditioning, it was always for white roles. There was not and I'm not exactly dark. I'm a mix. I'm confusing. And so, I had to fight. Like when I get a role like Dr. Raymond, I go in for Dr. Raymond. I go into the room when we used to go into the room, and there'd be, three tall white guys, all of different sizes, and a black guy who's auditioning for the same role, right? And then it would just be like, okay, how are we going to do this? I had to just make up my own. Like the role that I just booked on a show called From, which I've been working on for the last few years. It was an Irish Catholic priest, and he
Oh
was
really?
old. He was like a 75-year-old Irish Catholic priest in the breakdown. And so I went in and I read it the way that I read it, and I booked it. And then they changed the name after the fact, and they made it more, somewhat ethnic, just to fit the whatever. I'm so ambiguously ethnic.
No, but that's like a great example. That makes sense, right? Just kind of
That's
call.
right.
We're looking for a male part. We're looking for a you do have to
Yeah.
break certain things down. Also, I don't even find it's like this is another thing about like movies and stuff. A thing they need to do, I think, in order to correct like the way it's viewed in the public, because they are
Mhm.
kind of losing that PR like optics battle of like from the activism side of like pushing this shit, is stop
Yeah.
trying to make characters that people knew to be another color, and create new stories for people instead of like, I find this like when they just try to take something and then redo it. They did a lot with like women, right? Like the female Ghostbusters
Oh,
movie,
I
which
see. Right,
yeah,
right, right. I
yeah,
see what
you
you're
know what I mean?
saying.
Like
It's like,
instead of
yeah.
just, and like they remember there was a run of those, like they did Ocean's 8, for instead of Ocean's 11, and it was like 8
Yeah.
like women or whatever. I just find stuff like that. It's like, just create new work and new projects and go find new writers and new
Yeah.
directors that have that background that you want to embrace. Because
Yeah.
again, it doesn't seem like you're trying to embrace the backgrounds. It seems like you're trying to put out a public image that makes you
Forcing.
look
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I remember, you know, I was working on a show and there was a female character and she was gay, but there was no mention of gay. There was not a mention. She had a relationship with a partner. It never became a thing. She was just a woman who was strong, you know, madly in love with her partner, and they had conflict, and it was real and it was raw, but it wasn't put in there. And originally, I don't think the character was one or the other. It was just this was her job in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Like she had an occupation like a cop, and then throughout the whole series we reveal, oh, she actually has a partner, and she's had breakups. It's like the more of that without commenting on, it's just like it is what it is. Like I'm doing
Yeah.
that with my kids. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not making anything of anything with anybody. No human being on
Exactly.
this planet. Like when I teach my kids, I'm not even teaching them. I'm allowing them to see it.
See the world. That's when it,
Get
like
out of get out of the way. Get out of the
the
way. The world is
the
diverse enough.
the
Yeah.
inclusion of gay characters specifically and stuff is good, because like the argument for it is there are gay people that exist, so they should be in things. And then the second argument is there are gay kids and they need to see it normalized so they don't feel like
Normalize. Yeah.
so they don't feel like they can't come out or whatever, or they
Yeah.
feel like they're weird. But then again, you start having things like Disney and Pixar not just putting in a character, which is fine, but then
Yeah.
really like, let's make a meal out of this to let everybody
Let's
know
show
what's,
everybody know that
yeah,
we support, but
yeah,
it then does it have a backlash effect? Does
yeah.
it have a disengaging effect?
They did
Have
get
there
some
been
shit at Disney.
reports?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Disney got
it's
some shit like a little bit where I think, but it wasn't at first. What happened was, I think most people like let it slide for a couple movies, and then there was one that it was really bad, like just really very obvious, and it was a tell don't show. It was like, it is happening, and now we're gonna really talk about it. And I think that got a lot of people to be like, all right, this is enough. Like, is this like literally all you're doing in your movies now? And then the hypocrisy of it was, there was scenes that they'd definitely add in their American release with LGBT characters, and then when they released it in different countries that weren't as open-minded
they
as
cut it.
Americans, they'd cut it out, and people were like, well, this is just a hip, you're just about money.
Yeah.
Like, it was
Yeah.
the classic demonstration, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's frustrating. That's hard. I mean, it's definitely, you either lean into it, own it, and really show support, which is getting back to the crux of everything we're talking about, I guess, right?
Yeah, pretty much, right? Just like, just do it in a genuine way that shows that that's what you believe and feel, and this is what it is. And don't be preachy about it if you don't have to be. I'm not
But
totally
does it
against
need to go?
preachiness, but
Okay, I'm going to go the other way, Nick. I'm going to go the other way. Do we need to do some forcing in this transition period
I don't think
to
so. But I'll let you
at
finish the
all?
question.
No, but really,
No.
I think the world is so upside down because now look at what's happening with, you know, I think about in the United States where, you know, there are forcibly removing any efforts that were made to create DEI programs. Now
Mm-hmm.
DEI has been demonized, but those programs, you know, whether it be you know, taking in college kids, allowing them to register, administering them, in trans communities, like, I think they need an extra boost. Like, I think trans people do need a little bit extra support right now because, you know, there are kids. I'm not saying, and that's the thing too. It's like, if you sometimes you do need to speak up a bit and be like, hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. First, we need to make sure everybody knows that trans people are people. They're actual human beings that exist in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, their lives are in danger more than ever before because they're so demonized. And I mean, I remember I wrote this post the other day, and I did a video, and in the video I was talking about there was hypocrisy going on, and I made a comment about, oh, you guys are, so upset about trans people going to the bathroom, but yet, and then there was a hypocrisy thing there. And then someone came on, somebody who I knew growing up, and they were like, hey, listen, I feel like, are you saying it's okay for a guy who dresses up as a girl to go into the girls' washroom where your daughters are going to, and throwing this posit out there that maybe, oh, this person's dressing, they're definitely a predator, and they're going to go in and they're going to, assault my daughter. Like, that was what the whole thing was. I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, you are just completely ignorant to the experience of a trans person who just wants to take a fucking shit. Like, they just want to go in and take a shit. And if
Yeah.
they go into the boys' bathroom dressed like the way that they are, honoring who they feel they are, going in and they're dressed up like a female, because they are female in their minds, they're going to get their shit kicked out of them. Then they go into the woman's bathroom, and now all of a sudden they're super perv dudes who are dressing up to diddle. It's like, I got to take a shit. That's all I got to do. I just want to take a shit. And I can't shit in the fucking road. So it's just like, it just gets me fired up. I get upset about it. But there needs to be a little bit of, hey, we support you, and we're going to go a little beyond what's normally kind of accepted.
I think you can support. I think the problem too is the stuff we were talking about, like how everything just gets fucking blown out of proportion and blown up online. I think there are two extremes. They get the loudest things. I think trans activists are probably part of the problem, as opposed to just trans people or trans supportive people, but trans activists who are like, do these constant purity tests. Like, support for the LGBT community has gone down in the last like 10 years, and people are pointing to, it's enough. Like, stop making everything about this issue. Stop. And the reason why I say you can't force it, I don't believe you can force tolerance. I think tolerance comes naturally through day-to-day experiences. Like when the NHL players to wear like pride jerseys, even just for the warm-up skate, and there's players who don't want to do it. I can say to that player, like, or you can say, like, I think it's kind of shitty that you're doing that. Like, it's a warm-up skate. Just wear the fucking jersey. I don't understand. But I also agree, if you don't want to, you don't have to. And I don't think forcing that person to do it makes the world better for gay people, even a bit, even a little tiny bit. So I think you can't legislate or force tolerance, right?
That's absolutely true. And I think, though, that, I agree. Any activist who goes too far is so ridiculous. Like, when you get into legislating anything, people getting fired for not using the correct pronoun, and they may have not meant it in a mean way. They just literally got it wrong, and whoops, it's a complicated thing sometimes. And now all of a sudden your whole family is demonized because you got the wrong pronoun. I mean, nothing that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help them go, hey, I was wrong. I feel better if it's like, no, they're going to be like, fuck you. Fuck all of you people. Now I'm anti-trans.
Yeah, it does. It actually can have that fucking effect, right?
Yes, it goes so far. It happened to me. It happens to me all the time. Shit like that, where I'm like, oh no, I was trying to support you. Now you're fucking with me. No, fuck you. Fuck all you people.
Every day I come home and just write a new group that I hate now because of a bad experience. Like, well, Portuguese are off the list. Fuck those guys.
You don't want that. You don't want that. The Portuguese and their goddamn step building. I just, they get it right sometimes.
I think, you know what? I think the perfect world that we could live in is a world where people who want to put their pronouns in their email can, and the people who don't have to, and no one gives a fuck or says anything about
it. That's it. Yeah.
Instead of it like being like literally HR departments at offices, this is all they're doing now is like pronouns and like weird shit. It's just a waste of everyone's time and effort.
It's gone. I think in the new world of, the introduction of, the idea that trans people exist. For example, we keep going back to the trans issue because it's such a tiny percentage of the population who have occupied so much space because I think it's a new thing. It's new. And I don't think
Mhm.
people have really, it's the same thing with LGBTQ. Like gay people in my hometown of Burlington, Newfoundland, I remember when it was a bit spooky. It was like, I don't know, gay people, what are they going to try to do? And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
this is in a religious town in the, early 80s in a tiny place. Now it's like, whatever, who cares? Celebrate. Yay, everybody. It's like, even the most conservative people are like, yeah, we love you. Like, that's fine.
Mhm.
No, that's not true. Not everybody in that town is like that. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like we're going through something. It's going to be some hard growing pains. And I don't think it's going to last. I think in the big picture of humanity, it's going to be
It's
after a while, it's just people are going to be like, what? Yeah, who
people I
cares?
think
Like,
people will talk
whatever.
about this period from a historical point of view as like that was nuts and weird and people were contentious and there was this new invention of social media smartphones and everybody kind of didn't know what to do. I
Yeah,
think we can get back to normal eventually where people are just chill the fuck
totally.
out. And I hope that happens. All right, let's move on to the next topic.
Okay.
The one we disagree on. What's the position? Oh yes. It is possible to be too empathetic. So we both disagree. I agree with that point. You disagree.
You think
Here,
it's impossible to be too empathetic or
no,
no?
I think it's possible to be too empathetic.
Oh, I see.
Yes. So this is I'm gonna the
Hey, Nick, no, I feel you. And you know what? I hear you and I understand where you're coming from. And those feelings are big feelings, and we all have big feelings. And they're totally normal, and you have a right to feel that way. And I'm
well,
just here for you, whatever you need. I
thanks
support that feeling.
thanks very much. I appreciate that. You
You
fucker.
ignorant fuck.
Yeah. uh here's my start off launch into this disagreeing with it. There's a book called Against Empathy: The Case for Rational
Ah,
Compassion.
you read a fucking book.
I didn't read
Okay.
the book.
I
I
got
know I've
no, I
heard of
got, this is what
I
I'm
I've
reading.
heard of this book and I'll
This
give
is
you
what I'm reading. Evolution
evol-
for Babies. Okay. That's what I'm reading.
Okay. Well, this right now, I haven't read this book. This is just something I'd heard of. And I heard this guy talk on like a podcast and different things that people talk about this concept. So it's the author Bloom argues that empathy tends to be biased or parochial, which is just, it's just favoring people around you, favoring people that are similar to you, favoring people that agree with you. So people often will show empathy more towards those types of people and not necessarily empathy towards other people, therefore not really being truly empathetic. Um, uh, and yeah, there's more of a detached form of compassion would serve people better, which means be compassionate, but don't let empathy consume when you're dealing with a situation. Like you can have empathy, but then you gotta eventually be like, all right, we need to solve whatever this issue is. Like I'm empathetic with you, but we still gotta move forward here. What are we gonna do? I feel like some people can potentially get caught up. That's sort of my
But isn't the statement that you made, which is people can be too, you can sometimes be too empathetic, or you
too
can never
too
say.
empathetic. It's possible to be too empathetic.
Yeah, but okay, so if in that case, what that person that you're describing in that group that is only being empathetic to those in their immediate circle that they already align with anyways,
Mm-hmm.
and then are disempathetic towards those who are not in their camp, they are not being empathetic enough. So those people should be more empathetic. If you're like
Yeah.
empathetic to me is a moment where it is absolutely not about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not about you ever in that moment. And I think
I would
we
actually slightly disagree with that, just in the sense that I think empathy is the way you kind of make it a about you a little bit, right? Like sympathetic, you're kind of like seeing the person go through something, you feel for them, and you're like, I get what I don't know what you're going through, but I feel for you. Whereas empathy is like a way of actually kind of taking on what that person is feeling into you. Not that you're making it about you, but that's the problem, right? That's where you're getting not that you should never be empathetic. This is the point of this. I'm not like totally disagreeing with empathy.
No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but I think, okay, then we have to define empathy. Because in my mind, when I think about empathy, I think of feeling for someone else, having empathy for what they're going through. Whoever that person is, it's a selfless act. In my mind, I see empathy as something where you as a person, you're going through some shit. And I have no idea your circumstance. I don't know you, but I have empathy for you. And it's an active thing that I need to do, which is empathize. So, how can I empathize with you? I'm going to get to know you. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to hear you. And this world is doing the opposite. Everything in the world we live in now has nothing to do with the selfless act. It has everything to do with, you are sure I can fake empathy with you and pretend to think, but if it doesn't align with what I believe, then fuck you.
That's what I believe. That's what I believe is happening.
We agree then. We don't disagree, because I think but I do think though there should be more empathy. Like, there's not enough empathy in the world. There's zero. It's nothing. It's not happening. It's a vacuum.
Proper empathy. I think that people talk about being empathetic and stuff with groups, and that's why where I say it comes bias to their side. Like, you would see, like, if you can just see it every time something like a major figure on one side of a political party dies, right? Like, there are people who are just like, fuck that guy, I'm glad he's fucking dead. And then when somebody dies on the other side, fuck that guy, I'm glad he's fucking dead. And then they both tell each other that they think they're shitty at the exact time, because, and it's just, it's hypocritical. Proper amount of empathy is good. It's something that I think people should truly aspire to. And I just think that there's a cap on it. I think if you spend your time, first of all, if you are absolutely purely empathetic, which I did just look up the definition to have the accurate one, it's the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. So it's a little bit more than just like being like
understanding.
It's like it's like a deep level of like, I'm feeling what you're feeling now. And if you walked around the world feeling what other people felt all the time, it's toxic. That would be destructive.
There are people who are empaths. You hear that word a lot as someone who is an empath. Like, one of my daughters, or dogs, are so empathic.
That is exactly. Dogs are a pure example. Empathic, they are like, I feel what you feel.
Take it on. But I do think, though, obviously there is a mental health issue if you are not able to protect yourself. But I think the act of empathy is at least an attempt at understanding. There's the intellectual understanding, but then the emotional understanding of what someone is going through. But it starts with the intellectual, and it starts with listening. And then once you listen to the person and you start to put yourself in their shoes to see where they're coming from, that's how you connect with people. People don't connect now. They don't, because they're constantly running their minds, going, comparing. Do they align? Are they my enemy? Are they my friend? What do they really want? But they're not just listening. The act of listening in the purest form is one of the hardest things to do. And
sorry, what were you talking about? I didn't hear that.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I know.
I walked right into it. But it's really, really hard to do. A better joke would have been, just go ahead. I'm going to try to up that joke. Go. Do it again. You're talking to me about listening.
Yeah, so I think the real problem is that people don't listen. They forgot how to listen to people, and they just don't listen. People don't listen to anybody anymore.
Yeah, but don't the Blue Jays, aren't they going to win?
Yeah, that was better. You fuck. That was death.
Or I don't know. Something we should work on it. We're gonna work on it.
Yeah.
But I think so I would argue that What the world needs is there needs to be a virus that engulfs the human mind. I would like to see that. I would like to see that happen where people become the only switch is empathy. That's all they have. They're struggling with the virus. The only thing they can do is feel for other people. And I'd like to see what would happen to that population. What do you think would happen to that population if the virus took over and all they could do was empathize with each other? What would that
I
society
think
look like?
I think that society would shut the fuck down. Like that is like I think again, I think like some degree of empathy it's going to be like all right, but I do think that like yeah, too much of it is just you're just bogged out. Like we just said, dogs, the most empathetic creatures ever. What the fuck do they do? They're great, but they just sit around being like, "What's going on with you, man? I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it." You know, like we just be a society of people kind of I don't know.
Actually, have you watched Pluribus? Actually, that's what's happening right now.
Yeah,
That's
I love
kind of
that
what's
show.
happening
Yeah.
in that show. It's kind of that idea of they're all connected, but they're
Mm-hmm.
all joyful because they understand how everybody feels.
Mm-hmm.
They are feeling they're so connected to everybody, which is what's happening now when we're in our own little bubbles. That's why religion is so good, because everybody feels like they feel whatever everybody else feels. You go to a congregation and everybody's singing and they're all connected through the Lord Jesus Christ, and they don't know if it's real, but they're committing to this idea of feeling empathy for everybody else and the world. But then obviously they're kind of, especially when it comes to the gay people,
Mm.
they're not so empathetic. But in the world of that church or in that concert, everybody's connected. So
Mm-hmm.
what are the barriers to connection? I think lack of empathy.
Yeah, look, I think there are people that are not empathetic enough. I think there are people that are selectively empathetic. Those are would be my big complaints. And then as I say, I just think that like there's a certain level of empathy that is good to have. And I'm not talking about like somebody's telling you about their day and they had a really bad day and you feel for them and you're empathetic with what they're going through, and then you get 10 minutes in and go, well, that's enough of that. I don't want to fucking hear any. What I'm saying is there's like an empathy as a broad sense in society where like you're going to be empathetic for a while and then it's time for somebody to go, okay, we got to get some shit done with this then. Like we can't just sit around feeling empathetic. We got to and when it comes to say instituting policy from a government, you do want them to be sympathetic, empathetic, understand the different issues that the citizens are facing, but you can't just sit around being you got to go, okay, we're going to have to make some decisions here though, and certain things are going to get done and certain things aren't. So that's when I'm talking to a broad
Right.
sense. I don't know a human being who's so empathetic that it's engorged their life and they can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not a thing that
So there
exists,
are
but
guardrails. I think the human brain naturally has guardrails. So, no matter what, it comes down to self-protect. And there are those who are probably watching this now. Do you have people watching it? Does anybody watch this? Have you
no,
have any
not a lot yet.
followers?
I'm starting to get this is the what
Out
sixth?
of the 27 people that watch this, there will be one who is a constant. They have guilt because they say, "Oh, I know I just give myself too much and I care too much about people." And then they don't take care of themselves and they're always too giving to other people. So that can be what I think. Okay, let's do this. Let's agree on this. Do you agree, Nick, that the world needs to have more empathy available to draw from when needed? Because what's happening is fear has hijacked empathy, especially online. And so even though the tap can be turned on, turned off, higher pressure, lower pressure, but it's the access to empathy that I feel like has changed. I don't think the first reaction to most people to other things that are happening in the world is empathetic. I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying if you were to take a percentage of, the time spent online, when, the Gaza war would be a totally different category. I mean, any war where we're seeing children die, or people getting bombed or anybody getting blown up or villages being destroyed. I think you naturally have some empathy for what's going on there. But I think otherwise, when it comes to like the economy or people's rights or voting rights or the environment, like there's so much division and so much fear that drives the news cycle that we've shut out empathy, like it's
Yeah.
pushed away. So we
I
need to open up the empathy fields and let the mining
I
begin.
think genuine empathy would be good. I think that like the theme I guess of today a lot is like how online and social media and phones have ruined us. But I think that because of that, I think that people don't see people as human beings as much as they used to anymore, because it is just they're an avatar, right? They're a
They're a
profile
bot.
picture. They're a
Yeah.
person who writes things I don't like, or whatever it is. So yeah, I think genuine empathy would be good. Cap it at a certain level for yourself, because you don't want to be the person who always feels for other people.
You need to
Genuinely
have,
empathetic people don't take care of themselves as much,
you
right?
got to take care of yourself. Do you know
Yeah,
somebody who does that?
never met an empathetic person in my life. They
No,
are
but
no.
like what would you call them? Like a super empath or like an X-Men type
Right.
empath where
I
they
don't
just have no. It's a superpower,
I don't
shitty superpower.
think so. I've seen people argue for it, but not necessarily, and not that they don't have some of them themselves. Yeah, I think I knew somebody once who was a little bit much for it, and just like they were a good person, you could tell they just wanted to be a good
Like
person.
friends
But
in high school. You know
yeah,
that friend in high school
but
that
they
was
would just
always
get
just
like, yeah, they would just get like they would get so into something, and I was just like, you're really just, you can't let this thing that you read a news article, you can't have that make you sad today. You know what I mean? You got to be
yeah,
able to
yeah.
read it, know what's going on, and move on. Like, yeah. Sorry, you were saying
Yeah,
a friend in
no,
high school?
no. I think that was a great example. I was just thinking about someone reading a newspaper article with newspaper in their hands, that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which you don't see as much anymore. Um but are you don't have kids. You plan on it?
At some point, I think,
No,
yeah.
because you're a cold-hearted sociopath and you don't give a fuck about anybody. But white people, widespread Nick Fuentes,
White straight people, that's the
loving
only group. There's a white
Kate
straight
Brendan's.
genocide. Jesus Christ. No, I was going to say, you know what?
Did that hit a chord, Nick? Did I
No,
touch something there? You're trying to have kids and you're if you
no.
need, listen, if you need any fertility help, dude, I'm here. I will empathize with you about how hard it is to make a baby.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want babies?
My wife and I have talked about doing it at some point in time. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that changes. My whole point is what that does uh from an empathy perspective. It rewires your empathic brain. It really does.
I
At
get
a
that. That's
primitive
yeah.
level, you have no, but although I will say it's not always. It's like you think it will, and you do. You have that like, oh my god, this is my daughter, but you're also like, will you shut the fuck up? Like I have no time for this right now. I've got 1,000 things to do, and it's like, oh, you're battling with your inner empath at all times because you're still a
Mhm.
human being, and you still
Yeah,
have
yeah.
shit to do.
It doesn't completely go away, but I was
No.
going to say before we go here, this is something I watched the new. Did you see the new Michael J. Fox documentary on
I
Apple
haven't yet.
TV?
No,
It's
but it looks great.
fucking incredible, and that was one where like mildly tearing up the entire time, feeling pure empathy for this guy, like hearing his story. So that's a good one. I do recommend anybody
Ooh,
watch
that's
that.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, look, I think this was great. I think we solved it all.
I
Uh,
think
I say,
is the world going to be a better place? What
I
are we
think so.
leaving with?
What
What is our parting shot?
our parting words to the public: be nice only to the people that you agree with politically, and hire a gay guy. Is that the end advice? That sound good to you, or is
Roll
that?
credits. Roll credits.
Shaun, thanks so much for jumping on here with me today. I really appreciate it. Do you have anything you're plugging right now? Anything coming up that you want
I
to let
just
everybody know about?
recorded a special, which I'm really stoked
Oh,
about.
amazing.
I recorded a special. I still don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but we shot it at the Church Brewing Company in Nova Scotia, and it was unbelievable, man. It was
Man, that's
so
great.
good. Beautiful venue. I did that. I have a new show coming out in I don't know when, but it's going to be on Peacock. It's called The Miniature Wife. And that's an amazing show. Such a weird, quirky little show starring Elizabeth Banks and Matthew McFadden. And then, of course, to go watch From. You got to watch From if you haven't caught up with From yet. From is banging right now, and people are going nuts for it.
Oh, great.
But go check it out. Yeah.
Awesome, man. That's great. Thanks so much for jumping on. I really appreciate it, dude.
See you, buddy. I'll do it again anytime.
Awesome.
Go.
Agree to disagree's a fancy way of saying fuck you.